I think we have a quorum. Welcome and good afternoon. This is the Metropolitan Council meeting on March 13th, 2024. And my honor to welcome all of you to room 1A. Sounds like a radio program. And I don't know why we're not in the council chamber, but we're here and we know how to be here. Two things. One is this is the first meeting where we have our permanent, not forever, but
It's a life sentence.
regional administrator Ryan O'Connor joining us, who's been in the room but usually in the back, but now he's sitting here next to me.
And you upgraded the day stuff. Thank you. Happy to be here full time.
And one of these days we'll get you into our own big chamber. The other is that this time of year it's actually light out, so we have that. So welcome, and we have a number of business items, no major information item, but unless anybody objects, I will consider the agenda approved. But we do have to have a motion and a second to approve the council meeting minutes from our meeting on February 28th.
Motion, move that. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, corrections? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. And this is the time when we invite members of the public to address the council for up to 3 minutes. And I don't see anybody, and nobody has signed up in advance, so there was the moment. Okay, we're on to the consent business agenda. Is there a motion, a second, to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion, any item?
Can I say who that was? Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You have to say our names up.
Yeah, Councilmember Morales and seconded by Councilmember Wolf.
Bento.
Okay.
It was seconded by Councilmember Bento.
Vento, oh, I'm sorry. It was between you two. All right, thank you. This is good ask. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Thank you. That motion carried. On to reports from the standing committees. First is our community development. Councilmember Livable.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Community Development brings 2 items for our consideration this evening. The first is item 2024-36. It's to authorize Scott County Sand Creek Township Valley View Drive Corridor Comprehensive Plan Amendment. So Scott County submitted the Sand Creek Township Valley Drive Corridor Comprehensive Plan Amendment, which proposes to re-guide 430 acres from urban business reserve to a mixture of rural business reserve, transition area, and parks and open space. The subject property is located along Highway 169 and Valley View Drive, just outside of the boundary of the city of Jordan. The purpose of the amendment is to accommodate business uses and outdoor storage served on-site by on-site septic and private wells. Council staff find that the proposed amendment conforms with regional systems plans, is consistent with council policies, but it is incompatible with the city of Jordan's long-term sewer service expansion plans outside of its jurisdictional boundary. Conversations between the city of Jordan and Sand Creek Township to establish an orderly annexation agreement, or an OAA, between the 2 jurisdictions have not been successful. In the absence of an orderly annexation agreement, the city does not have planning authority within the city of Jordan does not have planning authority within the township's boundary and cannot control the land use planning in the area outside the city's boundary. We had a lot of conversation about this, and it could be some of the council members, Councilmember Wolf, had quite a bit to say, so they might want to speak to this item, Mr. Chair, but I move that the Metropolitan Council adopt the attached review record and take the following actions. First, authorize the Scott County to place its comprehensive plan amendment into effect. Also, to revise the county's employment forecast upward, as shown in Table 1 of the review record, and also advise the county to implement the advisory comments in the review record. for regional parks and trails and transportation.
All right, is there a second? We'll have a chance for discussion.
Mr. Chair, on behalf of Councilmember Barber, who could not be here today, I will second it, and then I have comments to make.
All right, thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Councilmember Barber asked me also to speak on her behalf about this. She was at the Community Development Committee, and she and I both met with the City of Jordan and with the chair of Sand Creek Township's board, trying to work through this issue. It is a complex one, and it has exposed basically a gap in our comprehensive planning process in our policies. So this parcel of land is very environmentally sensitive. It's got a real high water table, lots of wetlands, it floods regularly. And it's a little strip of land between 169 and railroad tracks, basically, and then the Minnesota River is right on the other side, and Sand Creek flows through the area. Normally in Scott County, everybody gets along really well. We have scale and they all talk and work together, but for some reason on this particular issue, they just all stop talking to each other. And in Scott County, the county board has land use authority over the townships, so they're the ones that are coming with this. But when they had their planning commission meeting to discuss the issue, it was at the same time as the City of Jordan's regular city council meeting, so they weren't able to attend and speak at that, and they thought they would be able to speak at the county board meeting, and then the county board didn't allow any public testimony. So we've got not communicating with the board, Sand Creek Township, and Jordan on all of this right now. And normally, city could just annex land that's adjacent in the township, but there's a little, like 25 or 30 foot wide strip of land in between the project or the proposed area and the City of Jordan. And that person that's in between has said, no way, no how will they ever sell that little strip of land. So Jordan can't just annex it by ordinance. And as Councilmember Lilligren said, the discussions for orderly annexation, which is the preferred method of doing this sort of work where you're bringing township land into the city and running services to it. Normally, that's the best way to work because you can look at a large area and plan it out, kind of like we do with the areas that we're going to future serve with sewer. But because they're not talking to each other, that didn't happen. The land could actually be served with water and sewer this year. But it was portrayed at the county board meeting that it was, 20 years off. And so that's why they needed to do the water and sewer on a private basis rather than connecting to the City of Jordan. So there's a whole lot of dysfunction going on with all of this. It would be better if it was served by city water and sewer because of the environmental sensitivity of the area. But since nobody's talking to each other, that can't happen. And normally, if you have something that's interfering with the orderly provision of city services, if it's our system, we can say, no, that's not in line with our policy. But we have nothing in our policy protecting the long-term service areas of rural centers. And so it's not just this area that's a problem, but there's a breakdown of communication happening between townships around a bunch of rural centers, because if Sand Creek Township can do this, why should anybody else cooperate? They'll just keep all that land for themselves and for their tax base. So it's really frustrating that this is happening. And yet we have no way to say no because they have the local authority to do it, even though it's a bad idea. So essentially, we have to do it because of local control. And we need to fix our policy for the next round in Imagine 2050 to make sure that we have dialogue and a constructive relationship between those rural centers and the townships around them for the orderly provision of services to people who want them adjacent to the city.
So in a sense, you're recommending we need to address this policy for the next time, but
Yes.
we're just not in that place.
Right, we don't have the authority right now, which is unfortunate because it's not a good idea. And, you know, when I started doing planning 28 years ago or whatever it was, I always looked at things as I wanted to do things in such a way that somebody doesn't look back 20 years from now and go, what were they thinking?
Yeah, right.
And this is gonna be one of those ones that 20 years from now, they're gonna say, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
Because if you don't extend the services right away, it's never economically feasible in the future, particularly if you have large parcels that you're subdividing into smaller parcels, which is exactly what they're doing here, so.
Yeah, Rob?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thanks, Councilmember Wolf. I really want to thank Councilmember Wolf, Councilmember Barber as well for their thoughtful engagement in this. And I think Councilmember Wolf does this perfect summation of what's kind of happening here. And so this did move forward. I think it was a unanimous vote.
It was.
The committee. And I will note that Jordan Mayor Mike Franklin was at committee. He spoke. It was all very respectful. I mean, we all kind of know where we're at. And Scott County had senior planning staff on hand as well to answer some of the committee's questions. So the discussion was really, really good. It's helpful because it is lifting up a hole in our policies, right, as we're on the threshold of establishing a 2050 design guideline. So the timing is good here, but as Councilmember Wolf said, we don't really have much choice in how we move forward with this.
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Chair.
well explained, Trudy.
And the only thing I would add is that I think some of us, again, really felt in this situation and we wanted to be able to help the city of Jordan. But what I was very proud of, even though it was hard, is we knew what our authority was. And at times, and I know we've all served on the council for a while and been in other government roles, but that's always where we need to start. What is our authority and what is our role? And that, you know, while it might not be the popular thing to do, and it might not seem like the right thing to do, it is the right thing to do, and we hung in there on this one, and that I think for everybody is just a good reminder that even though it is just hard to imagine again what's gonna happen in the next 20 or 30 years on that site, we had to do what we had to do today. And I am friends with the mayor of Jordan, and he's tested and he understands and really appreciates even the discussion we had, because that goes a long way in showing that we have a lot of empathy, but we just, again, didn't have any choice.
Well, thank you, that's well explained and appreciate the position we're in. When in doubt, follow the law, but context. Any other questions, thoughts? All right, with that, we have a motion and a second and an explanation. So those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Councilmember Bento.
This really didn't pertain necessarily to the content of this business item, but I just want to note that it's in situations like these where I'm especially grateful for Councilmember Barber's and Councilmember Wolf's histories. Both, you know, and what they did prior to joining the council, but also on the council. And if you ever hear me refer to either one of them as geezers, slap me, because they are such invaluable resources when it comes to these issues. They really get it. So, are you writing that down, Ryan?
Yeah.
No, I said I will not slap.
Oh.
I said no to RA, no teaser. All right, thank you. And Councilmember Lilligren.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the second and final item that Community Development Committee brings forward. It's an exciting one. So it's business item 2024-73. It's to authorize our staff to apply for phase 2 of the EPA's Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program. Council members may remember that we received a phase 1 planning grant from the EPA in July of 2023 to prepare a regional climate action plan for the 11-county Metropolitan Statistical Area. Council staff have completed the first required component, the Priority Climate Action Plan, which enables eligible entities in the region to compete for funds in the second phase of the grant from the EPA. EPA's Phase 2 grants have the objectives of implementing ambitious measures that will achieve significant cumulative greenhouse gas reductions by 2030 and beyond, achieve substantial community benefits, particularly in low-income and disadvantaged communities, complement other funding sources to maximize these greenhouse gas reductions and community benefits, and pursue innovative policies and programs that are replicable and can be scaled up across jurisdictions. So in collaboration with partners, our staff are proposing to participate in the state of Minnesota's coalition application for the Equitable Residential Decarbonization Project. The state is leading the development of a broader application that includes several connected projects that will support localizing, scaling, and sustaining equitable residential decarbonization across the state. So we, the council, would be the partner in leading the funding coordination for the 7-county metro area in developing and administering the residential decarbonization grant program for the region outside of Minneapolis and St. Paul, who would receive direct sub-awards as part of the proposal. And using an approach similar to the council's private property inflow and infiltration grant program, local governments would apply and receive money to distribute these funds to private property owners or contractors to complete eligible decarbonization activities. Should this proposal be awarded, council staff would further define program design and eligible activities in consultation with local governments, state partners that are consistent with the EPA requirements for fund distribution and oversight. About $28 million of the grant funds would be dedicated toward grants to private property owners through local governments, while the remaining funds will be used for staffing, including grants administration, technical assistance. The staff team would provide overall program assistance to local governments, support local governments in connecting with eligible households through programs, events, or other means, and support awardees in identifying eligible decarbonization projects, connecting contractors to perform the work, reporting and tracking progress. So, Mr. Chair, I move that the Metropolitan Council authorize the Executive Director of Community Development Division to first develop grant application and related materials as a partner agency with the state of Minnesota as the lead agency for the Equitable Residential Decarbonization Project to be submitted for phase 2 implementation grants of the Environmental Protection Agency's Climate Pollution Reduction Grants Program, to develop and submit a letter of intent to participate in the proposal as part of the application process, negotiate and execute the memorandum of agreement with the state of Minnesota for participation, and negotiate and execute any required agreements with the EPA.
Great. Second. Thank you. And people may wonder, why are we doing this? Not the NPCA, but they're handling statewide efforts, and we have been gotten that first grant to coordinate the work within the metro, and although we work closely with our state counterparts. And hats off to our team doing this so quickly. It's important and it's exciting. All right, any other questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, that motion carried. On to the Environment Committee, Councilmember Blue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and we have 2 items before us today. And the first item is to authorize the regional administrator to reject all proposals for a contract. And that is contract 23P048. This is a request for proposals which was issued back in July 6, 2023. And it was issued without a disadvantaged business enterprise goal. We received 3 proposals to be evaluated. And then we realized that there was an omission of the DBE goal. It was discovered during the business item review. And due to this discovery, MCES recommends that all proposals for this contract be rejected. Therefore, Mr. Chair and members of the council, I move that the council authorize the regional administrator to reject all proposals for contract 23P048.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Councilmember Cedar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When this was presented to the Environment Committee, it appeared that this happened because things were being done online. and certain things have gotten missed, and if you push the button twice really fast, then it skipped the DBE part, and things like that. So it was, I know Jody from procurement was there, and so this is being addressed at a higher level as well throughout the system. So it's something that, when things are done online, people don't read the whole document all the time and look at things. So it was acknowledged that there was a process problem with this, and I know it's being addressed. So.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. Any other questions, thoughts? All right, well, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carried. Thank you. Councilmember Livable.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. This next item is to award a contract. This is 22P273. Awarding a contract to Inductive Automation Incorporated to provide something that was brand new to me, human-machine interface software, training and support services, an amount not to exceed $1,106,050. We had an RFP for this project. It was issued in June 2023, June 19th. And it provides HMI software, human machine interface software. And this is software that we need for controlling and monitoring our treatment plants and the whole wastewater collection system. So we received 5 proposals for this software in July. And we had an evaluation panel. They reached consensus that Inductive Automation Incorporated is the most advantageous to the council. And therefore, Mr. Chair and members of the council, I move that the Metropolitan Council authorize the regional administrator to award and execute contract 22P273 with Inductive Automation Incorporated to provide human-machine interface software, training, and support services in an amount not to exceed $1,106,000 and $50,000.
Yeah.
Over $1 million. What would it not?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And so what you're saying, if you don't have robots at the
This is to authorize our human overlord, our machine overlords to do whatever.
No, we're not there. All right, any questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carried. Thank you, and on to the management committee, Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is business item 2024-16. It is a same week item, and it is about the non-represented plan. The non-represented plan covers approximately 400 employees who are not covered by the provisions of a collective bargaining agreement. Non-represented plan is reviewed on an annual basis to reflect necessary changes and update compensation. The revision for 2024 includes a salary administration and indicates a 5.5% general increase for non-represented employees and either a step movement or performance-based increases depending on where an employee sits on the compensation grid. This increase is within the 2024 adopted operating budget and is consistent with the parameters established by the Management Committee for represented bargaining units. Additional changes are reflected of housekeeping to add clarity to definitions and application of the non-represented plan and align with statutory changes. To ensure compliance with Minnesota State Statute 363A-08 Subdivision 8, Section 10.5 of the non-represented plan has been eliminated. And I just want to make a note that this prohibits employers, and in this case the council, from asking job applicants, both internal and external, about salary history in an effort to end ethnic and gender disparities. This item has been reviewed and approved unanimously by the Management Committee today. So, Mr. Chair, the proposed action is that the council and I move that the Metropolitan Council approves the non-represented plan changes effective December 23rd, 2023, incorporating revisions summarized in the business item that everyone's received.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carter.
Thank you.
And any discussion, questions? No? Congratulations.
And I do want to thank our CHRO, Cassandra Tabor, for her work on this, and I know she's making wonderful transformational change here at the council. We had a nice chat today, so to her and her team, thank you for this.
Yeah, that's great work. Alrighty, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Thank you, and yes, thank you to our HR group. There are no reports from the Transportation Committee. And anything from our general counsel?
Mr. Chair.
Well, our regional administrator has the last word.
I had two quick ones for you. See,
There you go.
I'm gonna mess with you right away.
No, good.
Just wanted to announce the Government Finance Officers Association issued a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence, 40th consecutive year the Met Council has received that award, which is not a small feat. It's an important thing. I think in the state of Minnesota, a lot more entities than most places in the country do receive that from experience in working in other entities. But what I would say is that is judged by an impartial panel. It helps meet the high standards of the program, including and demonstrating constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate financial stories and motivate people in this region and user groups to read the report. And it's an important step along the way toward fiscal transparency. Kudos to Marie Henderson and Ned Smith and the entire finance team for making that happen. They didn't know I was gonna give it a shout out today, so that happens sometimes up here. And otherwise, just to say, we've been deeply engaged in legislative work going on at the Capitol, continued conversations with many of you and our regional partners on a variety of fronts. And even in a non-budget year, a lot of important work continues, and we're gonna keep working at it all the way till the end. So if you have any questions about specific bills, let us know. Judge Shetton's been doing a great job, and I think he's probably back there again right now. So that's all I got, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Stay tuned.
Mr.
All right.
Chair?
Yes.
Just, could you just kind of for the group, since we're all together, just talk about the State of the Region program that's coming up? I know we've gotten some emails about that, how are things coming together? And I know Elias and Michael have helped send out invitations to our districts, and thank you for that. You're already a lifesaver, we appreciate you. But just kind of where we're at in the planning and how it's coming along.
Well, thank you. And also thank those who are coming. You know, we have had a tradition of a State of the Region event at Council, but not for many of us. I mean, I think the last one was in 2018, and then I think it was Aileen Chermoff, so was chair, so it shows, or maybe it was, no, yeah, I don't know. So, thank you for coming. It'll be a number of different speakers, including myself. We'll have a video address from the governor. We're gonna be greeted by the mayor of Hopkins, Patrick Conlon, for those who know. And we have myself, in addition to myself, Reva Chambliss will be saying a few
Perfectly
things.
timed.
Wait on
Wow,
cue.
What an entrance.
She's coming just for this. And then Ryan, really kind of talking about not just the state of Met Council, but the state of the region. And the fact that we're going through the Imagine 2050 process of developing a regional guide, I think that's really going to be the theme. Not just to talk about what we do, what we achieve, but what our purpose is and how we are part of that growing region. And so hopefully it's got both humility and information and inspiration. And we have a number of people, over 120 people have signed up. And so tell your friends and family, come on by. I mean, there'll be an opportunity for an hour before the 10 o'clock formal meeting in an auditorium, but there'll be opportunity in the lobby to have different, literally booths from our different operating divisions, from transportation, from MTS, from wastewater, environmental services, and community development, just to kind of have more with posters and greeting kind of what we're up to, answer any questions. There's a lot of people coming from our cities, city staffs and mayors. So it's a real eclectic group, but I think it's kind of an opportunity, it is an opportunity for us to individually, connect and tell our story. And we're, in the process of, it is going to be kind of scripted, but hopefully not boring. And I think that since we haven't done it for a while, we have a chance to do it the way we want. And if it makes sense and we have some success, we'll think about how to improve it for future years. But if you have any thoughts now, it's a week away, let me know. I'll let Ryan know. But yeah, I think it's been exciting. Thank you for mentioning it. Be there, March 22nd, Hopkins Arts Center.
Can I add one thing?
No, yes, please.
No, I appreciate it, Mr. Chair. I would just say, the hope would be people should leave with a sense of understanding and optimism about what is in front of us over the coming year, as well as at the booths, a conversation about where you'll see us and when you can, what we're doing and where you can find us across the course of this year, right? Like, in an hour, you can't tell all the things to all the people, but you can say, here's some of our work over this year, and here are places where we're gonna be showing up, and we wanna continue those conversations. And there's a lot to be excited about, I'll tell you that, that's the preview.
Well, following up on that, because I wanted to give you the last word, but I'm gonna grab it.
Take it.
I've been saying this a lot recently, that while there's legislative debate and task forces talking about governance and whether we should be elected or whether being appointed is appropriate, we've been doing our business, and it's been really inspiring and important work. And not in addition to our new regional administrator, we kind of have a new deputy regional administrator. We have a CFO who's seasoned and yet new to the position. We have a fairly new HR director and a real estate director and IT director. And then we have really talented people who are the existing executive directors. I'm looking at you, Lisa, Charles, and Leslie, who is not new to Met Council, but new as general manager. And the chief is just a year. And even Leslie Conderas, who has a wonderful new chief of staff, for those who haven't met Jillian Linnell, and also some key deputies in Metro Transit. So there's a team of both veterans and new fresh enthusiasm that gets me pretty excited.
And community relations support.
Yay! Strong community relations support.
We haven't had that in a long, long time.
Right, who are new to our area and here to support all of us. So you think about what's going on inside. It's a great time to be saying, hey, we have a story to tell. So we should be saying. Susan.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to note that yesterday on public radio, if you didn't hear Chief Morales and General Manager Conderas, they did a phenomenal job. And I got teary-eyed toward the end when Chief Morales talked about how he's never felt so supported. Came here a year ago, and yesterday he was saying he's never felt so supported. Totally new environment for him. I was just blown away by that. I ran into him earlier today and was introducing him to a friend, and he repeated that to her. We're really blessed, and both of them are doing a phenomenal job, and they did such a phenomenal job yesterday on public radio. So if you haven't heard it, you can go back and listen to it.
It's Angela Davis, and it's on her podcast, and you can find it. Yeah,
Mr. Chair, do we post those on a media page at the council for people to?
I think we do.
Okay,
But we should-
we're on the news, so, or whatever, so. It's, good news is good news.
Well, I had the chief operating officer of Minneapolis say, oh my God, I saw that new chief's big face on the back of a bus recruiting officers. I was inspired. I said, well, Margaret, maybe you want to be a police officer. She said, no, that's what it is.
Yes, I wanted to invite you, I believe you received an invitation to tour the Metro plant on April 12th, Friday, 1 o'clock. Yeah, can't have all of you at the same time for forum reasons, but
Can't we post it as a meeting, just
Yeah,
that is
maybe.
the topic?
yeah, I'm not sure about that, but if you haven't had a chance to tour the Metro plant, get down there, it is amazing. You hear me at these meetings talk about approving contract P01492, whatever, you know, and you're like, what in the world does that mean? Well, you can actually see what 100 million gallons of wastewater looks like and how we are treating it to pretty darn good standards and doing a great job. So that's April 12th at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Any other,
This fine team will get more information to you if you don't have it already.
any other thoughts, reports? Okay, well, enjoy the afternoon, 4:40, it's now our shortest meeting.
Man, no
This
kidding.
meeting's adjourned.